Colorado boy. We're going to be talking about keg cleaning today. So this is the manifold setup, and I'll go through some of the parts and pieces, and then we'll go through the process. So this is the keg filler that hopefully you already know how to assemble that. But it's the Sankey body with the two sanitary ball valves, and that's connected to our manifold. So also attached to the manifold is our city water, our rinse water coming in one side with an isolation valve, butterfly valve. And then on the other side of the manifold we have our CO2 that's coming in, and it's set at about 20 psi with a regulator from our back tank. And we have a pressure gauge attached to the manifold. And we have, from the bottom of the sink, we have a bulkhead fitting attached to a ball valve that comes down with a 90, that comes down with a hot hose to our pump, and then out of the pump, and that goes back to the manifold. So depending on which valves we open determines what happens. So the first thing I'll do is I'll tap the keg that we're going to clean. We align the notches with the Sankey with the keg, press down, and then turn about a quarter revolution, and then push down on the handle. Then we're going to flip the keg over, put it up with the sink. I'm going to put the drain hose over the side of the sink, and the first thing we're going to do is rinse out the old beer, and then also preheats the keg. So now I'm going to open both valves underneath. So now both the valves are open, the product line and the gas line or the exhaust line are open. Now I'm going to rinse the keg with our hot city water. I'll turn that on. You can see that purging the old beer out of there. Let that go for a few seconds, and that also preheats the keg. Again, we're using acid number 6 and hot water, about 120, 140 degrees in the sink, about 20 gallons, with a dilute mixture of the acid. So now the keg is running clean. I'll shut off the city water and then help that out with a little blast of CO2 from our CO2 line until that drains. So then once that drains, I'll put that hose back in the sink, and that'll complete the loop. And now we'll turn on the pump and open it up to about 15 psi on the gauge. First I prime the pump, make sure it's primed. Now I'll turn the pump on, and I'll open the valve until we get about 15 psi on our gauge. There we go. Now we can start the timer. And we'll loop it for about 3 minutes. Okay, so our timer went off. So now what I'll do is I'll shut the pump off and then right away close the main valve on. Shut the pump off and I'll close the valve right away. And that just prevents air from pushing back and losing our prime in the pump. So now what we'll do is we'll continue to let it drain into the sink. I can help that along with a little CO2. And that just helps push out all that liquid. Vacuum too. So that's just pushing all the liquid back into the sink. All right, so when that blows, now I'll put the exhaust line over the side, and we're going to rinse the keg twice. We'll do a quick rinse, burst rinse, and then we'll do a longer rinse. The first one's about 5 seconds or so. And that's just to get most of the acid off the walls. And then I'll do a longer rinse, about 25 seconds. Shut that off. I'll use CO2 to purge out the rest of that rinse water. And then the final step will be to pressurize the keg so that we can counter pressure fill it from the serving tanks. So what I'll do now is I'll close the exhaust valve on the keg. I'll leave the other one open, and we'll turn our CO2 on. We'll let the keg pressurize, and we'll keep an eye on our valve, on our pressure gauge. We want the final pressure to be about 9 or 10 psi in the keg, but I'm going to overfill it so that we can use it to purge out some of the remaining liquid that's in there. So I'll go up to about 13 psi on these small kegs. And now I'll shut off our CO2 line. We don't need that anymore. And I'll shut off the other valve at the keg. So now all valves are closed. And I'm going to dump the spear. There's some liquid that's left in the spear, and I'll dump that out. Back. And then I'll do a quick release on that exhaust hose valve just to purge out whatever liquid is left in there. But I don't want to lose all the pressure that's in the keg, so I'm just doing a quick burst. And then give it a few seconds to go down the sidewalls. Do it again. And we'll call that good. There you have it.